Hi, I'm Dawn Montefusco, life coach for writers and creatives. And this is Write Your True Story, how to use your story to grow your business, inspire millions, and leave a legacy. And today we have the wonderful Luci McMonagle. She's a world-renowned visionary leader in wealth creation. She is known as the go person for women who are ready to transform their lives with abundance breakthroughs to have money miracles. Luci is a transformational mystic wealth creator, woman entrepreneur mentor, host of the Wealthy Wednesday show, and an international best-selling author. Hi, Luci.
Hey, Dawn. Thank you for having me on here.
Oh, it's just my pleasure. Tell us a little bit more in your words about what you do and any projects you're working on.
So what I actually do is I help women entrepreneurs to start bringing in their soul self into their business so that they can bridge that with the practicality. So if you've been ever curious about how do I use my intuition, or I kind of have this knowingness, but it goes against my teachings, I teach you how to utilize that in a way that benefits you and benefits all of those you are meant to serve.
Fantastic.
So it's a bridge. And then, current works that I have going on is I've just started developing the Mystics Wisdom, which is Facebook Lives or recorded videos when I'm traveling for individuals that want to ask those deep burning questions like, how do I charge my worth? Or what do I need to do to bring out my spiritual gifts? Or how do I break through the visibility barrier, because I'm so terrified of putting myself out there.
Yes.
And so those are my current work things that I have going on.
Oh, that's awesome. You're doing such good work in the world.
Thank you.
Could you tell it, I didn't read it off your bio because we spoke a little bit before the interview, and I really want you to maybe tell the story. You have such an amazing story that on your website, and my audience, maybe some of them don't know you. So maybe you could just tell us about your story of how you got here.
Absolutely. So the thing that really, truly got me here was a vow that I made to myself. And the vow that I made was to get myself out of the mess that I created. And it was because I crumbled. And as a woman, and if you have children, you'll understand that you do pretty much anything for your children. My choices I had to make when I was young in my 20s was, do I eat crackers again for another night, or do I eat my son's food?
Oh.
Well, I always went hungry a lot, and I was very, very slender back then. In fact, I believe I was underweight. And I kept making bad decisions before that because I didn't know any better. I didn't have the mindset. I didn't have the training. And there's nothing, bad about my parent, my mom who raised me, but she didn't know any better either. And so one of my goals is to end this cycle so that when we know better, we can do better.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Is in this series is about sharing and writing your true story. What I
Yes.
love is when you get over that hump of there is no shame, there is no guilt, especially as a woman, and when we're raised in certain scenarios, we literally don't know any better, right?
That's so true. Absolutely.
What were the first signs of your mindset shifting?
Some of the very first signs of my mindset shifting was, I had this crazy headache, and I don't normally get headaches, but it was when I made that vow, it was just like something inside of my head just caused this ache from the deep subconscious. And then all of a sudden light started streaming through. I started seeing opportunities. They were always there.
Yes.
But beforehand, I was completely oblivious to them. I had no clue that you could make money outside of working 9 to 5.
Totally.
And it was the start of me realizing, I can sell my dishes. I don't need to have this many dishes. And even though I inherited those dishes from my aunt, that they were the Depression era dishes, and I could sell those. So I sold the dishes, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so what else can I sell, or what else can I do? And then I would bump into people saying, hey, I need somebody to help me with my grandma, or I need somebody to help me with this, or they just got out of the hospital. So I started being like a gopher per se
Yeah.
for individuals. So I started seeing opportunities to get me out of the circumstances I was in. And it's not that I was on welfare,
Mhm.
but because I worked, the system was always 3 months behind. So 1 month I'd make this much money, and three
Totally.
months later they would take my money away from food stamps.
Mhm.
So it was always this
Yeah.
precarious,
Yeah.
like, if I work more, then am I going to? So you're always kind of forced into that system.
Yeah.
And my goal was to get out of the system.
Yes. Yes. How
Yeah.
has sharing this amazing, very vulnerable, authentic story helped you attract the clients and the women that you can help?
The way that sharing this authentic story has helped me with attracting clients is people understand me, they get me, and they feel this camaraderie with me, they feel this vulnerability, and they feel that, if she can be visible, if she can be that raw,
Mhm.
and to, you know not be ashamed of being on welfare, but always going up and down on the roller coaster, and not being ashamed of having to make really hard choices,
Mhm. Mhm.
then I can do it. So I give strength to individuals, and that draws them to me.
That's amazing. And when you work with them, just to give the audience a little bit more about what you do, you literally help them change their mindset, that they get to
Correct.
take off those blinders and see what's around them.
Right. A lot of individuals who talk about doing mindset training,
Mhm.
they're like, oh, just do affirmations.
Oh, yeah.
And affirmations did not help me.
Mhm.
They I mean, I would, because I had deep belief systems
Mm.
that the affirmations could not touch
Totally.
or
Yeah.
override. So what I do is we find those hidden belief systems
Yeah.
by a system that I created, so that you actually know what you're dealing with,
Yeah.
what the belief system is. And then once you shine light
Mhm.
onto that belief system, then you have a choice to
Mhm.
keep it or change it. And that's a lot of the things that they don't explain to you. When individuals in my field, they might think, oh, you're a law of attraction business coach. And I'm not really, because there's 12 laws that go with the law of attraction to make the law of attraction work. So I teach the ancient knowledge, but I also teach the very practical skills
Mhm.
that you also need to know in order to bridge these two together.
I love what you're saying. I love that you talk about how affirmations don't work because or most of the time, really, they don't. Because if you don't know what that hidden belief system is,
Hmm.
then you could say the same affirmation thousands of times, but they're not yours, right? They're
Right.
somebody else's that they suggested. And
Hmm.
so getting in there and getting under there, it takes a very experienced coach in your field to really like help people on that level. That's awesome. I love that you're doing it. I really believe in the work that you do. um,
Thanks.
and it's fantastic. You're also a mystic. You're intuitive. Tell us more about
Yes.
that. I love that part.
So the mystic intuitiveness, I could give you the scientific evidence that prove that, or I could just specify some of the things. I've had circumstances in my life. I've had supernatural things happen. I've seen ghosts. I've seen things that I could not rationalize. I could not explain. And they kept happening over and over repetitively.
Wow.
And I've actually discovered there's actually certain signs that mystics have throughout their life
Wow.
that other people normally don't have. And so I've started documenting this, like, what makes me so different, because I always wanted to fit in.
Yes, that's
And
you mentioned
and
that.
I
Yeah.
didn't. I was always that odd duck. I always felt like I was homesick,
Mm,
even though haven't been homeless.
Yes.
Or even when I was a child, I felt like I just didn't belong. I felt there was something different about me. I took things so personally,
Mm,
and I just wanted to help other people. So some of the things that make me different is because of who I am
mm,
as a mystic. And when you start understanding, oh, that's why, then you can say, oh, okay, so let's assume that
mhm,
you're pretty much a practical person, but you've had these strange experiences,
mm.
you've had these feelings, these emotions, and when you understand that what that means and what you are, then you're able to say, oh, and that helps you start bringing out your true gifts, what
Yeah.
you were meant to bring into this world.
Awesome. Awesome. What you're so calm and easy to talk to about this stuff, but was there ever a time where you were starting out, you were afraid to share your real true authentic story?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. I actually shared my true story the very first time, um, just not too many years ago. And I was in speaker training for, how to become a really good speaker, how to speak from the platform, and then you have to talk about your hero's journey, and you have to tell them your story. And I'm like, well, I've got so many stories, I don't know which story to tell. And it was the story that I was most ashamed
Mm,
of, actually staring at my son's food at times and wanting to eat his food.
yeah.
I felt so much shame at feeling like I wanted to do something that I knew was not good for him. I never did it, but just the thought that I thought it
Mm,
caused that shame.
yeah.
And I never wanted to share that with anybody because I've always wanted to be, I wanted people to see that I'm all put together and I've got it all figured out, and I know what I'm doing. And I never wanted to share that vulnerability.
Wow.
So,
And what was there a moment where you were like, no, I'm doing it? Did they and the speakers, did they help you?
um, yeah, the other speakers is that we were set up in small little groups, and I just did it. I just told my story and I bursted out into tears, and I felt so ashamed. And the other women, they started crying with me,
Oh,
but not for me.
right. Yeah, yeah.
And they understood because they've had to make really hard decisions. They were in situations in their lives where they had to make a decision that they felt shame that they felt this way, or they felt shame because they felt that way. And they shared with me their experiences
Mm-hmm.
and how what I told them made them feel more powerful, more able to be more visible themselves.
That's
And so that was the beginning.
and that was the beginning. And then tell us about writing your book.
Writing my book is I only have so much time in the day for working with individuals and clients. And some individuals, they just can't work with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to create a legacy so that if you get this book when you're younger, you
Mm.
don't have to make those tough decisions that I've had to make. You don't have to choose between buying food or paying rent. You don't have to choose between, feeding somebody else or feeding yourself. And so my book is the exact formula that I use to really dive in, find those hidden belief systems, and how to start creating money. So it's a step by step. It's not quite a workbook. The workbook is going to be out later this year,
Oh, cool.
but the actual regular book does tell you how to really find those belief systems and how to turn them around.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you find the belief systems and you start digging those out,
Mm-hmm.
then affirmations are more powerful and they start working faster, and they actually work
Yeah,
to begin with.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's the exact recipe. You're right on it. And so was it scarier to write the book? I get some people that say, well, when I'm telling my story or I was speaking it, it was one thing, but then when I actually wrote it all down, it was a little bit more real. but actually more powerful at the same time.
When I actually wrote, I wasn't actually writing the book.
Mm-hmm.
What I did was I took all of the material that I created over the last 20 years,
Cool.
and it's like, okay, so this worked for me the best. This was concise, direct,
Yeah.
and so I sorted all of that stuff out, and then I put it together in a really tight, condensed book.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're a woman entrepreneur, you're busy.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of things going on. You don't have time to be reading a 300 volume book.
Totally.
So I put it together so that it's only the core things that will help you break through those mindsets. And so I didn't actually write it. I compiled it, and I took out what all the stuff that didn't work and all of the miscellaneous things that I wrote that I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah. But your story's in the book.
Yes, my story is in the book.
And I love that. That's beautiful. So that's another great thing to get across to some of the readers is when we're putting a book out there, teaching what we know, right? That's kind of, especially women, we know we want to lift as we climb, right? We figured that out. It can be a technical book, or it can be a workbook, or it can be, whatever it needs to teach, but putting you in there. So
Yes.
we know the person and we trust that person who's writing it. It really just seems to be key to the whole, like the difference that makes the difference,
Yes, exactly. And I think one of the most important keys is putting in there what you actually experienced,
Excellent point.
and instead of what you've learned.
Oh, good point. That's a subtle point. It's a very subtle difference. I like how you put that. I agree with you on that. And I think when you have a story, that's actually experience, right? Because if we want the details of, someone said, well, I don't want to know what your story's about. I want to see you in the story. That's a subtle difference. Excellent point. So that's great. The experience. I mean, we trust you, right, Luci? We know that you've been through it. You're doing it. You're working at it. You're refining your skills, and I think that that's felt. How has social media helped you, or scared you? Either one.
Yeah, well, I honestly have to say, up until about 3.5 years ago, I was terrified of Facebook.
Oh, wow.
I hated Facebook. I thought for sure that if I put myself out there on social media, then I would have crazy stalkers.
Yeah.
And none of that was true. Obviously, don't put your personal information on social media. If you're going to have a mailing address on your website or anything, get a mailbox service. So, at first I was terrified. I was like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be visible. But, I met so many people since then that have found me through social media, that have been following me. I've had some individuals follow me for an entire year before they reached out and said, hey, I've been following you for a year, and I love the videos. I love that you have a Facebook group. I love that I can find you on LinkedIn, and I can tweet and share your tweets, and you've made a difference in my life. And it's those people that actually have reached out to me and let me know that I've made a difference in their life. Just sharing my story, doing my Facebook Lives, putting my little positive affirmations out there, or my little tips or my little strategies, and that really makes it all worth it. So how it's helped me is I change people's lives. I'm able to duplicate myself without any hard, it's not hard to duplicate myself. I can reach the people who, maybe they're getting ready to work with a coach, or maybe they're getting ready to work with me. And most importantly, I'm able to help them become a better person if they choose that.
Yes. Oh, that's just beautiful. Any advice to someone who's out there and is afraid of judgment?
Yes. Well, there's definitely that's a really hard one, and it's really difficult. When I first started my speaking, one of the things that I was completely oblivious because I was so caught up in my story and telling my story for the first time. But somebody pointed out, if Lucy can do that, then I can do that. And I had no idea what she was talking about. I'm like, what do you mean if I can do that, you can do that? But she's gone on to actually create something beautiful, more powerful by telling her true, authentic story. So at first I thought she was pointing the finger at me, and if I could do that, then she can. But it was kind of like derogatory. Like, what do you mean? But then it turned out to be beautiful. And a lot of times you are going to have people who don't like you. They don't like the way you look, or they don't like what you say, or they don't like the words you use, or there's going to be people who just don't like you, period. That's about, I believe, 1/3 of the population. Now, 2/3 of the population is going to love you, absolutely love you, get you, want to be there for you. And another 2/3, they don't care.
Yeah.
So you have to remember, the people who get you, the people who love you, they're the ones you're meant to serve.
Yes.
The people who hate you and they send you hate emails, or they post hate stuff to you, that's their stuff. It has nothing to do with you. It's where their mindset is, not your mindset. And sometimes when people really, really dislike you, that helps them to look at themselves. Now, it might not happen immediately. You might trigger somebody who gets so angry at what you're doing that they start a mission of their own doing something else.
Wow. Totally.
So even the people who judge you and hate you or dislike you, you're serving a very important cause for them if they choose to use it as an opportunity.
No, I love that. That's one of the things, and I fall prey to it too. You know, I've got a thick skin. I was in theater classes when I was younger, and I went to really competitive, like weird, coaching speaking things. And anyway, point being is, I've been told I have a thick skin. I've been in some plays here and there with weird directors, and yet here I am with my own business. And if I get like 2 emails, just 2, you've got a typo here, or I don't like your laugh, you know, or something like that. But I get like 30 or 40 emails saying they love me, whatever. I'm like, why, what do they not like about my laugh? You know, and that little girl in us, I think, still gets there. But I love it that when we have mentors like you, and we get to reach out and say, you know, what do you think about this? It's just calm, and like, this is just the way it is sometimes. And someone said, remember to love your haters too, you know?
Absolutely. Yes. Love your haters, and that will help them become a better person, because if you shine love, eventually their darkness will crack.
It's true. It's so true. Well, the time went by so fast. You have a free gift that's wonderful. Do you want to tell us a little about your link and the free gift for us?
Yes, absolutely. So for those entrepreneurs and those individuals that are feeling maybe you just don't have enough support, maybe you're not having the ability to go forward, my free gift is a meditation to help you understand that the universe is truly for you, and it'll help you to feel supported, to feel more relaxed, more confident, and you'll be able to start tapping into seeing how the universe is supporting you.
Ah, I love it. Luci, thank you so much just for being out there for women, and thank you so much for being on the show. And I really hope that we stay in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, well, you have a great day.
You too.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.